Don't think she needed an attorney to know that she shouldn't lie. She did everything she could not to have him tested. All right. She even testified that he's not the biological. I know she was there when she became pregnant. I get this stuff all the time where people come in and claim he's a bad guy. Both parties are present. Ms. Johnson is represented by Ms. Pelto. Mr. Jackson is here in pro per. This is a couple of things that we need to deal with. First is entry of a paternity order. Mr. Jackson requested paternity testing. After repeated requirements of mother, she finally cooperated with it. Don't know why it took so long, but she certainly was not cooperative to begin with. Mr. Jackson was found to be the father. Are you objecting to entry of that paternity order, Ms. Pelto?
We are not, Your Honor.
All right. Now, then he's also made a motion for at least a temporary order or something of custody. And I've looked in the file, and Ms. Pelto, I don't know if you did, but on May 31st of 2024, there's an order that says, per the sworn testimony of the defendant, your client, on May 31st, the plaintiff, Martell Jackson, is not the legal or biological father of the minor child, as there is no affidavit of parentage or DNA and stuff like that. I don't know how she testified that he's not the biological father when in fact he is the biological father. So I'm just warning you, her word isn't particularly good right now. All right, the credibility is lacking. So what are we going to do as far as some type of a order so that because he's going to start seeing this child that's his?
Your Honor, so yeah, the minor child in this case is 3 years old, and I know that Your Honor has a longer history with this case than I do. We were retained a couple days ago. Yep. So yeah, our understanding is that the minor child has been residing exclusively with mother since the court ordered in May. And
where was the child residing before that?
Prior was residing with Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, all right.
And so since May, there has not been a parenting time schedule in place. That is in part due to the fact that when mother received the child back into her care, she had some concerns about the child's health, and also took her in for some routine medical care that then led to a CPS investigation due to a diagnosis that the child had of bacterial vaginosis, which led to an investigation into sexual abuse. She was advised through a safety plan not to allow the minor child to communicate with the father or enter into his care. She complied with CPS until that investigation was closed due to the minor child's inability to complete a forensic interview.
So what you're saying is they didn't substantiate?
They did not substantiate, Your Honor.
And that was back in May when she was also saying that he's not the father?
That was carried through September, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
In addition, Your Honor, there has been a history of domestic violence in this case, including some convictions related to Mr. Jackson's conduct against Ms. Johnson, including when she was pregnant with a minor child. So I think we just are asking, Your Honor, understanding that there is an established custodial environment with mother, acknowledging that there's a history in this case, whether or not, you know, that's led to now the child has been with mother for 8 months, hasn't seen father during that time. And so we would just ask that the court would consider that when granting parenting time, for that time perhaps be supervised, knowing that there's been investigations by CPS and a history of domestic violence in the case.
I'm sorry, but first of all, CPS investigated and didn't find anything, okay? So I'm not gonna use that against him. Second, he had the child, and then she did everything she could not to have him tested. All right. She even testified that he's not the biological. I know she was there when she became pregnant. All right. And for her to come in and say that he's not the biological father is very bothersome. Then, like I say, then he comes in and just says, look, I want to be tested. I want to be tested. And he had to file another motion, even though she was ordered to be tested. And she didn't do it. All right. I find her conduct to be rather bothersome and
yes,
basically contemptuous at times.
We are now entered in this case, Your Honor, and I've spoken with my client. She understands the importance of complying with court orders in a timely manner going forward. she will
I
comply.
don't think she
with whatever
needed
the
an
court
attorney
orders.
to know that she shouldn't lie.
Your Honor, my understanding is that there was a lack of certainty about whether or not Mr. Jackson was the father, that there had been enough.
Certainty is one thing, but to swear that he is not the biological father is something totally different.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I mean, I'm not just gonna give the child to him right now. I'll tell you that. He hasn't seen the child, but I'm gonna give him some time starting right now that he's gonna get the child so that he can start building that relationship with that child. And we might take a look at it farther down the road, but at least for now, the child knows him. The child until May was with him. It's clearly acknowledged that. And like I say, she has done everything she can to inhibit his ability to see this child. She should
Your
have
Honor.
taken the DNA test many months ago, and we wouldn't have had from May till now.
In May, he had it dismissed, sir.
Asia, just hold on.
So,
Yes, Your Honor. I think with some also understanding that had the testing been done in May, CPS still would have been investigating, and she would have been advised to comply with the safety plan for several
doesn't
months.
matter whether she's advised or not, I make the decision on that, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
CPS can say, you know, no, I don't think you should do that, and I'd be saying, well, wait a minute, we can do a lot of stuff to make sure it's safe, especially while you're just investigating. They can investigate you for armed robbery, Ms. Pelto, even though you were not even in the vicinity or anything to do with it. And you wouldn't want that to be, you know, used against you, especially when they ultimately didn't find anything against Mr. Jackson. You can say whatever the reasons are, but I can't sit here and say, oh no, I guess he must have sexually abused the child, even though there's no evidence of it. All right, because that's what the mom is kind of trying to do, is make me make that finding. And I don't have any evidence of it. Anybody, I get this stuff all the time where people come in and claim he's a bad guy. CPS is investigating. They didn't find anything.
Yes, Your Honor. I think given these allegations, given the history in this case, we would also be requesting a referral to FOC just to get some clarity about some of the facts in this case.
I don't have a problem. Do you have a problem with Mr. Jackson with referring it to the friend of the court? But I'm gonna give him parenting time in the meantime.
No, I do not. I just want to see my baby.
All right. We gotta find a neutral spot to meet, because is there a PPO against you from Miss Johnson?
Ms. Johnson has a PPO, yes, Your Honor.
All right.
She's been trying to do everything in her power for me not to see her.
I understand that. I've gone through that, Mr. Jackson, and I understand, but I can't.
I have witnesses from when I had got the PPO.
Listen, there is a PPO and I gotta protect both parties from that. That's as much protection as you, Mr. Jackson, not to be alone with her, so she claims that you did something.
Yes, sir.
All right? Where is an exchange place that we can do for this child? Is it a, you know, Mr. Jackson, can your sister pick up the child? Or I'm just looking for something.
Well, I will have my mother, but she have a case against my mother, so I can't have my mother. So it's like we can meet anywhere possible. Court,
Grand
police.
Rapids Police Station?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Is that real far from anybody?
No,
Yeah,
not
I'm
for
not
me.
sure, Your Honor.
We can meet and exchange at the Grand Rapids Police Station. They got cameras there, and if somebody does something, if somebody does something, it's not gonna go good for them in front of me, I can tell you. Okay, Miss Johnson or Mr. Jackson, anybody does anything other than just exchange the child, that is not gonna go good for the person who I find out is going.
Yes,
All
sir.
right? All right, we're gonna start out, and for the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna, Mr. Jackson, you can see the child this Saturday from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. All right,
Okay.
just bear with me. All right, 10 o'clock till 6 o'clock, exchange at the Grand Rapids Police Department. All these are, okay? All these, and everybody better act like an adult. You can also see her Wednesday. Do you work, either of you?
I work full time.
No, she goes to school on Wednesday.
Yeah, I understand that, but when do you get out of work, sir?
I work 6:30 to 3.
So, you can pick her from 4 till 7 on Wednesday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, it'll be 4 till 7 on Wednesday, and that will go for this Saturday, this Wednesday, the next Saturday, and the next Wednesday. All right, just so that she's used to you again. All right, you've been out of her life and it's not your fault. All right, but and then after that, she's going to see you on Wednesday night and every other weekend. For now, from Friday through till Sunday.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right, and Ms. Pelto, I'm going to ask you to draft this, please. Okay.
Yes,
And then we can do a referral to the friend of the court also for
thank you, Your Honor.
custody, parenting time, all that kind of stuff. Let them take a look at it. We'll also do it for child support and all that kind of stuff. All
Yes.
right. All right, so that will be it starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. All right, meeting at the Grand Rapids Police Department right down here on Monroe or whatever it's on. Right? Wednesday from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And that's for the next 2 weeks. And then after that, he will still maintain the Wednesday 4 till 7. And he will start every other weekend. That will be his weekend then coming up. And then we'll do every other weekend. We'll refer it to the friend of the court. Any questions about anything?
No, Your Honor.
Pardon? Oh, we'll waive the fees to the friend of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So nobody has to pay $150. Do you understand that, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson?
Sir.
You're
Thank
going to be contacted by the friend of the court. You better cooperate with them, otherwise they only get the other party's side of the story. All right? Cooperate with them, be reasonable. They are not the enemy. And if you're, it'll come back bad unless you guys realize they're not the enemy. All right? And if you don't agree with what they recommend, you can object to it and we'll end up having a hearing. All right? Ms. Palto, I appreciate and I mean, I sounded like I was kind of pounding on you, but I know you just got in this. I'm not, that was in no way meant and to say anything bad about you.
Yeah, I understand, Your Honor. Thank you.
You just, all right, good luck, everybody. Any questions? If not, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got Lele back. So I'll get her at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah. Mama, I got Lele back. I get her at 10 o'clock tomorrow.